Warning, it's...
Before we plunge into the mayhem with Nasty Nova, Love Bambina, Chelsea J, Sassy Brei, and Lucian Locks on the Ghetto Games podcast. Disclaimer, we are not licensed therapists, we are not medical doctors, we are not legal advisors. The thoughts, views, and opinions we're throwing out here are purely for your entertainment. This podcast is all about keeping it real and amusing. We engage in discussions and games with fantastic guests, covering everything from social and political issues to spirituality and beyond. However, let's be clear, it's all for the sake of entertainment. Some info might be true, some might be, well, a bit of creative storytelling. And just so we're on the same page, don't even consider attempting any of this at home. We might be trained in the art of wild entertainment, but looking out for your best interest? No, not our thing, or our own for that matter. So, fasten your seatbelts for the wild ride.
Would you be open to, dating a pansexual, man? Is that something?
My honest opinion.
You are now tuned into the Ghetto Games Podcast.
Welcome to the Ghetto Games Podcast.
Welcome to the Ghetto Games Podcast. It's your girl, Sassy Brei.
And it's Love Bambina. I'm back, guys.
Yeah.
And we have a guest today. We're really excited. Joining us on the couch is Blaque.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Blaque.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm really excited about the topics that we're going to get to talk about today. Probably very polarizing for some, but really it's just friends talking. So I'm really excited. We're going to hop right into it, guys.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, we already know each other, but I would love for you to share a little bit about your background, like where you're from and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought we was gonna hop right into it.
You
I'm gonna beat you to the chase.
Okay.
I'm from Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
I am a pansexual male. For those who don't know what that means, I deal with men, women, and those of different genders, like in between trans.
Binary,
Binary,
gotcha.
Non-binary,
Yeah.
queer. All that.
Yeah, open. So that's great. This is wonderful. That's exactly why, because I knew you would jump right into it. So, data says that, a lot of heterosexual women seem opposed to dating someone bisexual over a straight man. I'm not going to really focus so much on why I think that may be, but I would like to know why you think that is.
I think that just goes by social normalities.
Okay.
I think that's a strong reason why, what did my parents do? What am I used to? What is socially accepted?
Okay.
And it also comes in the time of when you were raised.
Okay.
I think that's something that nowadays is a way lighter subject than back, I say, even when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was very taboo. And now we live in a time where it's more like, express yourself, be yourself unapologetically.
I love that.
Is there one that you love more than the other? Like, as far as that?
No. For me personally, it's more of a thing that's individualized to the person and my own interaction with them.
Okay.
That's what I love, our camaraderie. It's not a thing really based off of gender.
Okay.
So
not really a stronger desire for one gender so much over the other.
Exactly.
Okay.
When did you come to this realization?
Through trial and error. Trial and error.
Yeah.
I have spent most of my young adult life living in heterosexual life. I was DO probably, want to say around the age of 24, 25, I came out.
Okay.
And I probably, around the time I had my first male experience was 19, 21.
Okay.
Yeah, around during that age range.
And were you immediately like eureka, or were you like, whoa, this is different? Was it?
It's a journey. It really is a journey.
Yeah.
Sexual discovery is a journey. So things that I might not have been really okay with at first, they just ended up, becoming normalized to me.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's the way that you think.
Right.
It's the way that you think. So
Gotcha.
when I was introduced to more things, my mindset changed.
Yeah.
So it was presented to you initially, some of these situations, or was it like something that you like maybe seen or, just wanted to inquire more about?
It's a mixture. Okay. It's a mixture. It's individualized to the situation. There were times when I pursued it, and there were times when it found me. And not that I was ever a victim of anything. That's not my story. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I've been touched when I was a kid.
That's not your narrative.
That's not my narrative.
Yeah, no, that's good to know.
That's not my narrative.
Yeah.
Mine is just truly being human, having a human experience, and living authentically.
Yeah.
And self-discovery.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. So you mentioned that you do feel like the stigma has lessened as far as the way people perceive and society perceives.
Yes.
For instance, a pansexual or a bisexual man. So if we looked at the data again, I hate to be so statistic driven, but if we looked at the data again, there are way more women that are openly bisexual or pansexual or comfortable saying. But why do you think there are not as many men seemingly saying the same thing?
There's multiple reasons for that. One is I don't think that there are many people of public eyes that really show a masculine bisexual male that lives in his truth. So when people have a hard time speaking their truth when they don't feel like they're represented.
Yes.
To feel like they
Yes.
will be accepted.
Yeah.
And I think that lack of representation, along with if I'm pursuing, a woman,
Yeah.
and even if I desire men, I still want to get the girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so if that idea is closed off from my experience, I'm not comfortable with living in my truth because I honestly, truly do desire a woman as well.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
the closed off mindedness of the females is kind of also what makes men hide in the closet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So, and this is more of a question for my colleague. As a
You see, you got reversed
woman,
on you.
right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
As a woman, and you can certainly throw it back at me, but like, would you be open to, dating a pansexual, man? Is that something?
My honest opinion, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
That's okay.
And it's nothing against or judge or anything. It's
No.
just, you have your preference, and it's certain things that you see in a person, and it just wouldn't, be something that I would do. Now, well, let me say this. I want to say I will never do it, but the things that I've said I would never do, I've done. So I want to tread that lightly, but right now, in the mind that I have, that's
Right.
not something that I want to,
Right.
participate.
There.
I love that you said that. And oh my gosh, I appreciate that so much because that's a thing. Like we don't really know. I think we all have these ideas of what we think our lives should be or
Yeah.
what we think things should look like, to your point. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
But even deeper than that, we have these ideas that we have of our spouse. And there are things that we don't know what they do behind closed doors because of that mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where someone who might be more open to a spouse who dipped and dabbled, they probably would get the honest side of that. You wouldn't.
And so that
I
brings
can't
me.
say you wouldn't for sure, but
100%.
but in a scenario, there's a chance that you wouldn't get that, so you wouldn't know. And while you're thinking you're dealing with a heterosexual man,
Yeah.
you're truly dealing with a DL man.
That would
Yeah.
send me. Do you hear me?
Let me
Just-
tell you, and that actually brings me to a couple things, and we'll circle back on a few of those. But the first one is based on that. Have you ever had a partner because they know that you are attracted to, multigender, and you're just kind of attracted to the heart and you don't have a specific gender preference? Have you had people to think that you're more promiscuous or that you kind of sleep around with everyone? Is that something you've ran
That is
into?
honestly, that is something that I have dealt with.
Yeah, from partners like. thinking.
I've had people say things like, "Oh, I don't know, who to watch out for." I'm ducking and dodging from all corners.
Yeah, you're
So,
that's funny.
I won't lie and say that hasn't came up. However, once someone has truly dealt with me, they understand that it's individualized to the person.
Yes.
So where they're thinking more of like, oh, I'm ducking and dodging every male, every female, or trans, that it's not that. It's not the case at all.
Right.
Our relationship is individualized and unique and special in its own way.
Yeah. No, I love that. Because people have been like, oh, yeah, pansexual, bisexual people, they must have tons of group sex.
No,
Right.
not my thing.
And it's interesting because a lot of pansexual and bisexual people I know are actually fairly conservative people, which is interesting. So I love that you brought that point out. Yeah, that's great. That's great. It sounds to me, not to say you're not a sexual person, because I do get the vibe that you certainly are passionate and, erotic, but it seems like you're definitely.
Then you get all this just from
a
this
little
look?
bit,
Okay.
a little. Yeah.
That third eye is open.
My colleague, my girl, just said something really, really powerful. The two of you guys, you just said you may, because you're not getting that open honesty, because your man may know you're a little shut down. So, are there any signs that a straight girlie could look for? Or look out for if she suspects that her man or the guy that she's feeling is feeling men instead of women? Is that something, do you think that's even a thing, or patterns or anything that somebody could? Too layered?
I don't want to incriminate.
Listen,
I'm kidding.
we just going to put it out there.
I joke.
Obviously, these are generalizations, people. We just want to make that clear.
No. On all seriousness, there are tail signs that you can tell. You typically, like, if you feel like he might have a little sugar in his tank. It's probably a little sweet. It's probably a little sweet. Yeah. But
besides that though, like, is there any type of sexual?
So you, if you really want the tea, you really want tea, you
want
me to pour it out there and just
make it extra sweet.
Download the gay apps and make sure your nigga not on.
Okay.
That's good tea.
Learn what that chime sounds like.
Gems.
And if you hear, you said right.
What?
Watch out now. That's one of them.
That's one of them. We're not paying. But we'll talk about getting familiar with the notification sounds. All right, getting familiar with the notifications. That's how you do it. I like that. Thank you so much. Well, okay. So, do you think that men or women are easier? And let's just be down to fuck easier. They like, who is more?
Oh, I love this question.
Okay.
I love this.
All right.
Okay, so men are quicker to come by with sex.
Okay.
So they're easier in that way.
Okay.
Women are easier to mold and to, from my experience.
Okay. Yes.
From my experience.
Of course.
Are easier to mold and to make long-term relationships.
Okay.
Men are very fixated on the here and now.
Okay.
So like,
what's in front of me?
Right, what's right here, right now.
Okay.
We in it to win it. I love you for this second, and then But a woman is more ready to work.
Yes.
If you say at a relationship. So they each have their their pros and cons. And cons.
For sure.
Just taking it back a little bit, what was the conversation like? Well, first, does your family know what you like and all that stuff?
Yes, that's the came out part.
Okay. So what was that conversation like? How was the energy? What was all of that?
So it wasn't a big family intervention. We all sat at a round table. I came out to everyone in their own respects. So my friend, I invited her over to me and the guy I was currently dating's house, because they were like, we don't even know where you live at, what's going on. So brought her over there, and we kind of were just dealing around. I'm getting them dinner and stuff, and they could just tell by the dynamic, like, what's the relationship with this guy?
Yeah.
Never said anything though.
Okay.
So I literally had to she was like, well, who is he? And I was like, I didn't even know how to say it back then. So I'm like, oh, it's my friend. Right. And she's like, you're a friend? And I'm like, my friend. And she act like she was like, had like a whole moment, like tears and the extra and all that. She was like, but then I came out to my sister and then my mother. Yeah. Like I said, it was like individualized conversations. Yeah.
I think that's
because they each needed to deal with it in their own way.
Exactly. That's true.
And needed their own respect and time to deal with it, I felt. So
Do you think this was something that you, I guess, seen growing up, or was it more so as, and when I say that, I mean your interests?
Right.
Like, was it like something that started at a younger age? And if so, what age?
So it wasn't actually for me.
Okay.
It wasn't one of those things where I always knew.
Okay.
Honestly, I saw something on the internet and I was like, oh, and I think I was probably at that time, probably about 15, 16. Because of the way I was raised, I'm raised in Baltimore City. So I'm like, not going to try it.
Yeah.
It's in the back of my head. Went all the way through high school. I think that at that time, you know, I was in the locker room, so the guys was just nasty as shit to me. So it was that was like, it was easy to push to the back because it was like, all y'all smell like garbage and fucking ashtrays. Like, so, but once I got, once I got old enough to, like, you know, explore on my own, that's when I dove in.
Okay.
Very different from my story.
Okay. What's
Very
your story?
different from my
I want to
story.
know your story. What's
You
yours?
know, so I would also say I identify as pansexual or bisexual. And it was interesting for me because I was active with, you know, men for a really long time, so heterosexual. But I can recall, and it's such a random story, and I've told it on the Ghetto Games Patreon before, but I remember one time seeing this porn, and it was called Chocolate Bonbons. It was a very 80s porn.
Oh, wow, you remember the name and everything.
Yes,
Oh, that
absolutely.
that
Y'all
thing-
can Google it right now. And there is a scene in that porn where is a woman and a man. They're by a pool, and another woman starts to look at them from afar, and she starts to, like, you know, of course, please herself. And I started pleasing myself to that for like years to come, not really understanding
Now,
why.
when you say years to come,
No pun intended.
I'm just trying to see where we're going with this
know what?
conversation. You
Well,
know,
the point I'm making is I was able to identify my desire, but didn't really understand. But later on, I realized, okay, it was the attraction to not just watching those two people have that experience, but also the fact that, you know, it was two genders that I'm like into, you know. So I came into it very early, but I suppressed it.
Yeah.
So I just dealt with, and it's so funny because my high school boyfriend, my first boyfriend, we were together for years. Shout out to you, Ty. But he used to say to me all the time, "You are gay as hell, man." Like, he used to, like, we were in high school, and he would be like, "You gay?" I'd be like, "No, I'm not."
like, what was you like looking at girls' butts? Like, oh, you see her fatty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a clear sign.
Cracking up.
Yeah.
That's a clear sign.
That was it.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I got older and I got more comfortable, I was like, this is okay. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay. I definitely am into, like, whoever is loving on me kind of thing. And that's why I asked, you know, Brei, like, how she would handle, or if she would be open to dating, like, which is, of course, because I'm of the community, I would feel very
Right, open to it.
open to it. But I guess there are folks that are like, no, they wouldn't, even though they identify as bi.
Yeah.
I feel like that's interesting. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Do you think that's strange?
Yeah,
or
that
a woman?
I don't want to say strange, you know, while we're talking about, you know, but
Sure.
but
It's
I
all
do,
strange. We're all weird.
okay.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a funny way of
Interesting.
thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's like I wouldn't accept what I'm giving. And I feel like
This
I
is
feel
what
like
I've
you
been
should
saying.
always be able to accept what you give.
You
in
want
a
people
relationship,
to see you.
Or there's something wrong with
Yeah.
the alignment.
What we
Personal
doing?
opinion,
Right.
not an attack.
No, because it's like, what we doing? It's interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so
Got a little deep there.
It got deep.
it
got
did. So, like, when it comes to, you know, and baby girl, you just jump in whenever you want to. But when it comes to
deep. You know,
sex,
we don't want this to seem like, you know,
yeah,
it's like
Listen.
okay,
I don't know. So, well, one, I don't want it to come off as if like I have an issue with. I don't want it to come off as if I have an issue with a guy being with a guy. Okay, so
No,
just
we know
given
that.
my situation, so I like dick. There ain't never been no confusion about that. That's something I've always liked. You know, that's just me. However, my last relationship was with a girl.
okay.
And that kind of went it was a rough time for me. I had just got my heart broken by a dude. I was very vulnerable. So it was open season pretty much. And it was something I had never experienced before. So it was kind of like, okay, fuck this. I'm about to live my life, you know?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But I also, and I'll say this too, before that happened, like, you know, and I say this, you know, when I met Sheena, when I met Bam, you know, I was very homophobic. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Y'all, if y'all would have known Bree, she
not
did not fuck with gay people. Okay,
you making it seem like I was out here.
I really am. She was never homophobic. Honestly,
so when I say that, so where I grew up, we didn't see gay people, right? That wasn't something we knew. And then I grew up in the church heavy, so that was also another thing, right? So when I went to college, North Carolina A&T, it was gay central. So that was the first time I had ever seen it, and I was like scared. And in my mind, I was like, you don't realize like people have types, whether they're gay, straight, whatever, right? So, but in my mind, because you're gay, you like me because you're gay, right? So, and I was very conservative, very reserved, very sheltered. So
it's all coming back to me.
It was very new for me, this whole thing. So I felt like, although that's a situation I don't regret, and it was meant for me to be in that situation, I felt like it was a situation I was supposed to go through to like not be judgmental, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, to grow.
To grow.
That's what life experiences are.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know? But and I also, and I'll be honest, I have my biases, because for me, I feel like women can get away with things that men can't. And this is no disrespect. I hope this is not coming off disrespectful,
calling it like it is, baby
you know,
girl.
But I'm just
it
being
goes
open.
the other way around too.
Exactly.
You calling it like
it
is.
So, you know, I feel like it's easy for me to have a conversation with a guy that I'm talking to about how I had a girlfriend previously, because guys, first of all, they like that, they like it,
right,
and in their mind, they, you know,
well, I mean, they like the idea of it.
They like the idea,
because when it comes to losing your time or your attention to it, completely throws them off.
Yeah, that's true too.
And they can't believe that you're into it.
Like, what's the reason?
Like,
and I think too, the type of girl too, so it wasn't like, I don't think he'd like that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just, so I say that to say I don't want it to come off as if I'm like, I know it's a bias. I know that, I recognize it. I don't really know how to change it, but it's my biggest thing is be honest with me. Let me decide if that's what I want to do. Exactly. Don't decide for me.
Don't be sneaking and geeking.
Exactly.
Right.
That's my own.
And I think us talking about it and not creating like this nastiness around it, like what? Like, we just have to be more open and like just like we're doing about it. I think that's what's going to open it up. So I'm gonna be nasty for a minute. Okay,
I'm here with you.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Conversation got me.
When it comes to doing the do, you know, I know for me, being that I have experiences with men and women, I can tell you how I feel about sex with men and women and how it is different. But for you, I want to hear from you. How do you feel like it specifically, and you can get as specific as you want. I want to know specifically about sucking that dick. That's what I want to know about. Is it better for men or from women?
That's a good question.
The sensation, honestly, I would say I would give the men. But I'm a visual person.
Okay. You like to look at pretty things. I got you.
You read my diary?
Listen.
Okay, she getting it. Yeah,
you better stop it. Okay, so sensation, men, but the look,
visual
aesthetics.
Yeah.
All right.
Little hand gripping around.
Oh, yeah, nails. Okay, shaft, nails. Okay, it's a thing. Okay, yeah. So like actual sex. You would say that too?
Well, I can see that, because even thinking about, like, from my experience, like, of course, the best head I've ever had was from a girl. But it would make sense.
Yeah.
The little visual, the little ass out.
Well, no. Oh, okay. It was more of
thought I had a friend.
Them knowing they're a woman, so you know what you want as a woman. Okay. So in my mind, you should know what to give as a woman.
Yeah,
so it was definitely not no ass and all that other stuff.
Yeah. No, and I have to agree with that. Most of the men that have given me head, I mean, it's always trash. I have to give them some type of encouragement and positive reinforcement. But with women, they tend to get right in there and know what's happening, you know, licking all the right crevices, you know, but
all the nooks and crannies.
Okay. However, baby, this is just me personally. I'm not here to tell my business. This is Day is About Black. But what I am going to say is I'm not particular about, I'm not into straps. I don't like fake dicks. I don't like fake, I don't like that. So I'm asking you, when it comes to your pleasure, penetration, I'm not sure if you prefer to be penetrated or penetrated.
We can put all that right here on the line.
All right, go ahead.
So, no, I'm the penetrator.
Okay.
So as far as that goes, there's not really a preference for me in that.
Okay.
I can't really say the experience with a man and the experience with women are completely different.
Sure.
At the most intimate of levels.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
And I've messed with masculine men, feminine men, everything between. It's still just different.
Okay.
But
anal sex with women and men is same.
No.
Different. Okay.
No. Yeah. Anal sex.
Anal
sex is different.
Okay.
Men are a lot more prepared than a lot of women are.
Yeah. It's a lot to do, y'all. I've been trying to work on it. I've been trying to anal train.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I've only done it twice with a woman.
Okay.
And each time, coffee.
Yeah. Oh.
Coffee.
Oh.
I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry.
So
the men got that one.
Okay. All right. Well,
I would also rather eat a man's ass than a woman's.
Me too, actually.
If we get into like smells and bells, like I'm just keeping it a stack.
It's because they are more conscious or something.
It's the only hole I have to please.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all making sure that the main feature is ready. You know, you ain't been in the shower like for half a whole hour with Megan. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the only thing they got. Like that's where you eating from. That's where you sticking it.
Yeah.
So they make sure that thing is like just pristine.
And you really do have to put a lot of preparation into it.
I'll be waiting for a long time.
I mean, it's a full 2-day process
I
for
fell
me.
asleep waiting for some.
Listen,
I'm telling you.
Y'all done gave me a lot at one time.
I mean, the fleet take.
I mean, I've heard some that does like a whole diet.
You
like,
know,
I'm waiting to eat. Like, just some dick.
Yeah, it's a thing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Question. Back to you, Bam. This anal training thing that you had going on, what's that about?
Well, you know, you can go to your local sex store or online retailer and purchase you some anal plugs. They'll come in different sizes. And, you know, as you graduate to the next size,
She's really training that job.
Yeah. I'm really
you're getting prepared for something. Like this is something that you have been thinking about.
Absolutely. This is a marathon, not a race, baby. Wow. We have to prep. It's yes. Because what you're not going about to do is come and ram up in me. Right. Listen, we need to stay back in one piece. I need to stay in one piece, baby. Don't play with me. Yeah, it's good though. I've really come to enjoy it, and you should get into it.
I love the way you use the word "come." Like you place it just perfectly in sentences where it's like
just rolls off my tongue. Apparently, I'm not intentionally doing it.
Bam, have you always?
We're gonna talk after this.
Please after this, because I don't think I can get no deeper than this.
Listen.
Have you always been interested in it, or this is something new for you?
Oh, the anal.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in it. So it's interesting because my first consensual sex period was anal sex, which is so interesting, and it was very much coffee, and it was not a good experience, but it was with my first boyfriend, and he was super, super patient, and we did it again, and it was interesting. Like I started to get lots of lubrication naturally in my butt, and that was the first time.
It wasn't coffee this time.
It wasn't. It was very much. You know that scene of Jason's Lyric where she's up against the wall in the alleyway, and she's getting like that's what it was for me and him. It was very good, very passionate. We was outdoors. It was great. Oh, wow. But yeah, it was, and I came and he came. It was just a wonderful thing. But So I've always romanticized it since then because what hasn't quite gone down like that again since then, because you have to be very relaxed. I've learned that you have to be very comfortable with that person, at least for me as a woman.
Right.
I'm not sure how the preparation goes down, like in the mind of a man, the psyche, but yeah, I enjoy it. I definitely like, fingers and doing things to myself now though. And like if I'm using a vibrator or something on my vagina, like
You
in
like a
the
little stimulation in the butthole,
yeah,
too.
a little bit. It's
Two
nice.
on the pink, one on the stink.
It's a really intense feeling though. So that's why you have to be really comfortable, because it's like you just are letting everything go.
A lot has happened.
I love the
since
way you
left the
described that.
podcast.
Thank you.
You did an excellent job.
I just did what I do. But so okay, so I'm very appreciative of you being so sharing with us and just opening up. Just to circle back about sex. When you settle down, or do you want to settle down, have a family one day?
Oh yeah, I'm a Cancer, so
A lover boy. Yeah, we have a lover boy here.
Yeah.
I love it. My rising's Cancer, so at the end of the day, I'm a fake, but I'm sensitive as fuck. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm hard.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sensitive about my shit. Okay, that's that Cancer rising. But yeah, so do you feel like you see yourself settling? I hate to use the word settling, because I feel like you want to level up, right?
Yeah.
So
we can call it that. Do I feel myself leveling up?
Yeah, with like a man or a woman more so. Like, of course, then you come into other things, procreating naturally, or, doing other things to build your family.
Honestly, I have just recently come into being able to visualize what that looks like for me in my life.
Yeah.
I never saw that until I would say this year, where I could see what a marriage, raising a family with a man would look like for me.
Yeah.
And how that would make me feel, and how I would feel about what I'm projecting to the world.
Yeah.
And could that be something I'm proud of? So the answer was yes.
Very good.
The answer is yes. I've come into the stage of my life where I definitely think that is something that I could.
Either or.
Either
so
or.
really,
Either
whatever.
or. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would definitely want to conceive a child naturally.
Okay.
No matter which way I choose to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I love that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. So question. So, right. I feel like now, well, I think it's changing a little bit, but for a period of time, it felt like people were calling themselves bisexual as like a trend.
Yes.
Or like the first point of them coming out, or just being, I guess, coming to. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like that's something that is a trend? Do you feel like, people that are, if that's what they really like, they don't got to necessarily say I'm this or I'm that? Like, what's your thoughts?
I think the bisexuality can be a stage of your journey.
It's not linear.
It's not. Yeah. It's, you could stay there, or you could progress. Well, not progress makes it sound like there's like an ultimate, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it has to be one way or the other.
Okay, so you pointed out about the trend and how that was. I love that you said that it just is like, that's not linear. It could mean you're on different parts of your path. Mm-hmm. So I do understand that, especially all journeys often are not linear.
Right.
But I just want to know. Let's keep it 100. 1,000. How many of these men's is fucking on their men's, if you feel what I'm saying? Like, so how many people are just fucking on their homeboys?
Oh, I see. I can't really answer that question. I don't know what people do in the dark. I'm not there.
But we need to know, because I feel like these men be having sleepovers and they are fucking on their boys.
Now, I can definitely,
which is fine.
I can definitely tell you this. It's a lot more than y'all think.
Yeah. That's what I'm like, let's talk about it. It's
definitely a lot more than y'all think.
I'm going to tell you, I have a girlfriend right now who's actually two girlfriends. One married, one is dating. And one of the guys she dates, and they have sex, actually she said they have good sex, but sometimes he's just not into it all the time. And recently, I guess he's asked her like, hey, I want more anal sex. And I guess he's into it. And so she's like, this is kind of weird. Like, I don't know what that's about. And I've told her an experience I had with a straight man who enjoyed being pegged, and she thought that was gay. And I couldn't understand how she would think that was gay since he was doing it with me. But hey, everybody has their own perspective, right?
Right.
But now her man is asking her to only have anal sex, even though she does have a vagina accessible. And she is offended by it because she's like, what has he got going on? She's like, is he gay? And I'm like, girl, don't give me the lying. And my other girlfriend, she's been married, and her husband haven't had sex in 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And she's recently started to cheat on him on these sites.
Or is it?
And she's been getting bucked down too. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that. But she thinks that her husband may be gay too. So, and that's why I kind of asked, is there anything that a straight girl can kind of look for? But I don't think that those two things are indications just off the bat.
They aren't strong indicators.
Yeah.
There are a list of kinks and fetishes that people are into.
Right.
He might have seen something that he might have been beaten off to since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that,
fantasizing.
The initial, it being new to him can be exciting.
Yeah.
But then once we get past that, now what really turns me on my kink. And I want to get to that.
Yeah.
And that's where he's like, let me sit and put it in your butt.
Yeah. I want to do this.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he wants to put it in a man's butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Sexual acts do not quantify homosexuality at all.
No.
At all.
Actually, to the degree, and I've said this on the pod before, there's another podcast I listen to that I love, and they basically talked about just a long story short, but this man had gone out, had a great time, ended up meeting this woman. They had sex. She had a very large clitoris, and so much that I guess when he was giving her head, he kind of felt like he was sucking, kind of giving fellatio more so than like cunnilingus. And so he ended up like going crazy.
It's the terms for me.
Okay, I'm trying to be clear.
Gosh, I'm trying to be clear out of a sex ed
I'm trying to
book.
be clear about what I'm talking about. That's why. Well, he ended up really going crazy for her. They were fucking for a while, but then they fell off. And he was so sad about it. He goes back out and he's like, yo, do I like niggas? Like, do I like dudes?
Because now he want to suck.
Because he's like, now I feel I want to do that again. I need a big clit. That's really what he needed. But he actually went to a gay bar, picked up a guy, had sex with a guy, and was like, oh yeah, this is not it for me. I think that even it's that deep. Like, you could actually have the act of the sex.
Yeah, you can do it and still not be.
But there's a ton of people who do not agree. They're like, oh no, dudes, no. You don't have to fall into no dick or no ass, and I'm like, well, sometimes you do. Sometimes you got to do it. No, you don't like
that's saying you can't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
There's some validity to that.
Yeah. And so he tried it. And afterwards he was like, oh, no, I think it wasn't that I'm gay. It's just that, or that I like to be with men. Even though he really was convinced that he wanted to suck dick.
Right. He had gotten a fetish from
Yes, so that was the reason I brought it up. Exactly. So, but yeah, so that's awesome. I love that. Blaque, you have been so great to talk to.
Thank you.
I am just like enamored at just your openness. It's powerful as a Black man to come and tell your story on any platform, and I'm very appreciative because there are Black boys' lives that are being saved by you sitting here right now. So I'm very appreciative of that. At heart, I certainly am a community-based person, and so I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with you. You're very, very cool.
And to that point, though, for my last question or to wrap it up, I guess what would you tell your younger self if you could go, like, because I know you mentioned being on a DL at one point.
Yes.
So what would you tell your younger self if you had it all, like, as far as, coming out or just being yourself right away? Like, what would you, I guess, how would that look, or what would you, what kind of encouragement would you give to yourself at that point?
It took me a while to learn this. me coming into my 30s, I'm 32, that the thing about life is the fruits of life are experience. You can speak on any subject, you can perform any task if you've had the experience. But without it, you're a novice.
Looking at Cameron.
And on that note, we out.
Peace.
Ghetto Games Podcast.